can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Steve Hunter. I'm the commander here at VFW 1197, Batavia, U.S. Navy submarines from 1988 to 1994. Was petty officer, third class.
Thank you. Can you tell us why you wanted to join the military?
I wanted to join the military because I wanted to fly jet airplanes off of aircraft carriers. Didn't happen, ended up in submarines. Have no idea how it did a 180, going from being up in the sky down to below the ocean, but happy it did, and everything worked out well that way.
Yeah. What did you do in the military? Can you tell us where you've been deployed and what you've done?
I went to basic training in Great Lakes here in Illinois during the wintertime. Very cold, waking up in the middle of the night to shovel snow. After basic, went to Pearl Harbor, so Hawaii for a couple of years there. I got on a submarine that used to be a ballistic missile submarine, was converted to fast attack for SEAL operations, and we were the main training platform and conducted SEAL operations in the Pacific Ocean. Then after there, I went to school in San Diego for roughly 8 months, almost a year. Then became an interior communications electrician on nuclear missile submarines on the East Coast, which was a totally different mission of going out into the Atlantic Ocean, hiding with nuclear missiles. And back in those days, we were the only platform allowed to launch nuclear missiles without direct presidential authority. It has since changed. Now he carries around the nuclear football and all of that, but back in the day we could launch, we had standing orders of when and when we weren't supposed to launch because we weren't in direct communications at all times.
What was your specific role aboard the subs, and what did you do?
I was an auxiliary electrician forward, meaning we took care of every electrical component that was not power generating. So power distribution and everything from the reactor forward.
What do you remember about adapting to military life?
Adapting to military life was fairly easy for me. In boot camp, they break you down and then build you back up and teach you exactly what you need to know. So the military is very good at taking ordinary citizens and converting them to warriors or whatever they need to do. They're very bad on the back end of taking military personnel and converting them back and making them ready, preparing them for civilian life. And that's where I struggled a lot. Coming back, getting out, I was in my mid-20s, and you're used to being in charge of multi-billion-dollar pieces of equipment, nuclear weapons, everything from hydraulics to electrical systems to the reactor components. And then you come back to civilian life without a degree, you're a 20-something-year-old, and you have no responsibilities and no respect. It's very difficult. It's like going from being, I think Jesse Ventura is the one who said it best. When he got back from Vietnam, he was like 19, 20 years old, and they asked him what they could do for him, and he said send him back, because at least over in Vietnam he was treated as a man, and when he came back he wasn't even old enough to drink. And that's one of the hardest things for military personnel coming back, is that loss of responsibility and respect for everything that you've done and that you were responsible for, and now you have zero responsibilities.
Yeah. What skills or lessons did you learn from your military service?
Lots of life lessons. Starting with the basics, from just science, the electronics, the hands-on experience of working with hydraulic systems, oil systems, electrical systems, hands-on with very complicated high-tech gear that I never thought I'd be able to touch in my life. Leadership skills, systems approach to getting things done, learning from the weapon systems to the navigation systems to the communication systems. We had to know, when we qualified submarines, you had 1 year to learn everybody else's job on the boat. You didn't have to be an expert at it, but you had to have a basic understanding in case one of them went down. You had to be able to operate their equipment. But it gave you a better overall understanding of your ship, your mission, and what you were doing. So we were firefighters. There were no police to call, so we had no 911. We didn't have Marines coming to save us. We were very lonely out in the middle of the ocean. So we had to be our own security forces, our own firefighters, learning to be calm under pressure when you can't breathe and you can't see. And just the overall leadership of other teams were tremendous skills that transfer to any job here in the civilian world.
Yeah. What did you learn about yourself after your service?
That I could do anything. Going into the military, I thought life was limited, you had limited choices. After coming out of the military, I realized there was nothing that couldn't be accomplished with the proper training, preparation, perspiration, and the world was my oyster. You could do whatever you wanted. There was nothing that you couldn't, no path that you couldn't pursue. Anything you wanted to accomplish, we were able to do. And the teamwork involved in doing that and assembling your team was extremely important. That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned was your parents tell you you are who you hang with. When you become an adult, you realize that your success is limited by the team that you build around you. Make sure you have trained professionals that you work with that are as dedicated to achieving your goals as you are, and there's nothing that cannot be achieved with the proper team.
Yeah. What are some life lessons that you learned from your service that you'd like to share with us?
Similar to the Boy Scouts, be prepared. Whether it be studying, your research, your planning, and make sure you have all of the tools and equipment needed to achieve it, and then the rest is just purely labor. So prepare, 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 and then just do the work and get her done.
What was the best and worst part of your service?
The best part was the people that I met, that you learn to trust with your life. You're engaged in extremely dangerous operations, and you have to sleep, and you have to be able to trust the people that you work with to protect you and do their job 110% so that you can sleep easy at night. We've been alone before. One of the things about being in a submarine, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's weeks before anybody could ever get to you. So you have to trust the people that you're with. As far as the worst, I think that was coming home, as I hit on earlier, just the loss of responsibility, respect, and the teamwork that just did not exist. I mean, we've been with people who play sports, but when they say teamwork, they don't truly understand what it is to be able to depend on your brother the way we do in the military. And I think that was the worst feeling.
Yeah. How did you stay in touch with family and friends?
For me, I didn't. I was a bit of a loner. I went in, like I said, I moved around a lot, so I didn't stick with any core group. I went in roughly 6 years. I was on 2 different boats, went to 3 different schools, so I didn't develop the bonds that most people do with the military. And communicating back home, I was just friends. Every time I came home, I had good friends and family that you pick up with just as if you never left.
Did you meet any lifelong friends along the way?
I met a lot of good people, none that I really stayed in touch with, and I'm awfully young. When I tried looking up most of them, a lot of them are gone just from natural causes. We don't live long.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything you took for granted about civilian life?
Food. access to food. We didn't have fresh fruits, vegetables, any of that. It runs out real quick. Eggs, you get powdered eggs, powdered milk. Anything that we ate had to come out of a can or was made fresh. We didn't have soda. We didn't have sweets. The one thing I learned to like are Jolly Ranchers, because without a lot of space, you can fit a lot of candy into a little space, and that was my treat when we were underway for a long time. So Jolly Ranchers ended up becoming my favorite treat.
Is there anything you wish civilians understood about the military?
The amount of training that military goes through is not well documented. Right now we have the most highly trained individuals on the planet. Even our basic soldiers are highly trained in computers. They wear more equipment on them when they go out into the field than the special forces did back in Vietnam or anything else. Just the amount of training and education that our military puts into each individual and the amount of money that is spent training these people. I wish we had a program that would go from military to civilian life a lot better, or at least you'd get some kind of credit for the education. And a lot of the training programs are classified, so they don't correspond to civilian. You don't get credit for it in the civilian world.
How has the VFW played a role in transitioning to civilian life for you?
The best thing about the VFW is that brotherhood. I mentioned it earlier, coming here and being able to hang out with people that understand and get it. And when we call each other brother, we actually mean it, whether it be helping each other with doctor's visits, work around the house, that closeness and that dependability of the people around you that I've missed for years. I got out in '94, and it wasn't until probably around 2020 that I came here to the VFW and found it again. And it's been a huge hole that's been missing from my life. So the fellowship and the brotherhood is the biggest thing about the VFW that I miss. People that just know and understand you without saying a word.
Yeah. Did you see any changes in what you value or appreciate after the Navy?
Yeah, the training and education I didn't appreciate going in. I was never that good at school. But coming out of the military, we were little things like color company and basic training. It's just being the best unit in your basic training really doesn't mean anything once you're out of basic training. But at the time, you're the best of what you can be at that time. So I've learned that I don't believe in GOATs, the greatest of all time. I believe in being your greatest during your time. So we were the best of best, which is basic enlisted submarine school. We got certificates for that. Training in basic electronics, BEE, I think we called it at the time. We came out of that with the second highest grade point average in the history of the Navy. Missed it by 1/100th of a point. And I was class leader at the time, so that was frustrating. But it's that training and that knowing that your life depends on your abilities and the abilities of the people around you, so you strive to be the best at what you can be, and constantly being the best in your time at what you're doing when you're doing it is a life lesson that you don't learn on the outside. People can tell you, but you're never going to understand until you do it.
What was it like living on a submarine? Like, was it, yeah.
Lonely. It's confined quarters, but you get used to it. What was daily life like? We worked on an 18-hour schedule back in those days. I think they've changed it since then. But we did 6-hour shifts, so you were on watch for 6 hours, actually operating the submarine. Then you had 6 hours off, which you were supposed to be working on your gear, working on your qualifications, because in submarines you always had a call card. There was always something you were studying and qualifying for. So you had your gear, and then you had 6 hours of off time, which you would sleep. We had one TV at that time, in those days, and we'd fight over what movie or whatever we were playing on that, or you play cards, whatever you do to relax, read. And hopefully those 6 hours of off time that you got to sleep and do your recreation didn't happen during the captain's 24-hour day, where he would wake up and maybe it would be drills, maybe you would do field days and cleaning of the boat, repairs. So you could go 24, 48 hours without sleep just because of the cycle. You're on an 18-hour cycle while everybody else is on a 24-hour cycle. So if your sleep time came during peak work time, you didn't really get to sleep and you missed out. So that was the worst thing about being on submarines, is there was never any sleep.
Did you have a lot of opportunities to visit other countries? And if so, can you tell us about that?
Yeah. On the first boat that I was on, the Fast Attack, we did get to visit some other countries. We did a Westpac, so I got to go to Japan, Korea, Guam, the Philippines, Hong Kong. I got to see a large part of the Western world, which I guess is the Far East over there, depending on which way you go. But on the second boat out of South Carolina was a nuclear missile boat, and with those we didn't pull into ports or get to see anything. So we were out for months on end, go out, dive, never see the sun, come back, turn the boat over to the other crew, and that was it. So not a lot of port time or anything. That's where it got lonely.